Giants. Giants are beings of the enormous build. From the old days, gigantic creatures were part of many books and stories. Even in the Bible and Greek mythology, giants had a prominent part. Each of us has a different point of view about the existence of giants. In today's video, we'll look at 10 incredible giant discoveries. If you're new to this channel, remember to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell icon so that you'll be notified about our latest videos. Be sure to watch till the end of this video, so then let's get right into it. Number 10. Giant skeleton found in Castle Now. For an anthropologist, the chance of getting to excavate a Bronze Age cemetery is a big deal. In 1890, Georges Vacher de la Pouge found a Bronze Age cemetery in Castle Now, Les, France. The Bronze Age is considered the stepping stone into urban civilization. Discovering a Bronze Age cemetery is an achievement, but what the excavators found in the cemetery was more interesting. Many remains of humans were found in the cemetery, but 3 particular ones were different from the others. All 3 remains belonged to enormous beings. Many zoologists, paleontologists, and anatomists examined the bones. All of the examiners were certain that the bones belonged to a person of a very tall build. If that's right, then the person would be about 11 meters high. Number 9. Giants of Ecuador. While excavating a site in Ecuador, a group of scientists stumbled upon a group of skeletons dating back to the 15th century. The scientists were able to find different fragments of the skeleton, which they put together to form a human skeleton. At first, they were skeptical about whether these bones belonged to human beings. But after finding the remaining fragments, they were sure that these bones belonged to early human beings. By examining the bones, the scientists found that one of the bones belonged to a female who was about 7 foot 5 inches. During that time, the average height of females was 5 feet. So being a 7 foot 5 inch among 5-footers made you look like a giant. Another interesting fact about these skeletons was that there was no sign of any disease or mutation. They were all naturally tall. After 6 months of excavation, another site was found, 32 kilometers from the Ecuadorian-Peruvian border. The site of old settlements dated 1550. 5 more skeletons were found on this site. All these skeletons belonged to tall human beings. Number 8. Giants of Mexico. In 1908, a group of people stumbled upon the skeleton of a giant. The skeleton was measured to be 8 foot 11 inches. The people reported this to the authorities, and they started examining the skeleton. The result, which came out shocking, the femur bone was twice as normal. The rib cage was so big that it could be compared to a horse. The site was discovered by a group of miners who were doing their work when they stumbled upon the remains. The scientists concluded that the site where the skeleton was found was the burial ground of a race of giants that roamed here even before the Aztecs. They also found a hatchet that weighed over 25 pounds apart from the bones. Number 7. Red-haired giant. The red-haired giant is considered a myth or a legend, but many believe that the red-haired giant still exists. This is the Kandahar giant, which we're talking about. The mythical giant is believed to be allegedly killed by the United States forces. It's said that the team once fought against the giant, human-like creature that was about 13 feet tall. Certain features that made this giant more interesting, like having 6 fingers in both hands, 2 sets of teeth, and the flaming red hair, made the beast stand out from the others. The giant was found in 2002 when the units were deployed in the Taliban-occupied areas. There are only a few people who have a recollection of the footage, and most of the officers don't have a recollection of the interview. There's no way to determine whether this myth is true. What do you think? Let us know in the comments down below. So moving on to the next one. Number 6. The giant footprint. In Umpaluzi, South Africa, there's an intriguing footprint. The footprint measures about 4 feet long. Geologists and paleontologists say the mark is about 200 million to 3 billion years old. The footprints resemble human footprints. In the Old Age, people believed that the footprint is actually of God. This is, to date, the most important and solid evidence that we have that supports the existence of giants. There are people skeptical about the occurrence of this footprint. Some claims that some natural phenomenon caused this and accidentally formed the shape of a human footprint. I'll leave this to the audience to find an answer for it. Tell us in the comments what you think about it. Number 5. The West Virginia Giants. There are many grave mounds in West Virginia. Grave mounds are a heap of earth placed over prehistoric burial grounds. These grave mounds are believed to belong to the Native Americans who lived there. Several giant skeletons were found in these grave mounds in the past years. First, the skeleton was found by a group of coal miners. The discovery of this giant skeleton led to the deep excavation of the grounds, and this excavation indeed paid off when a few more giant skeletons were found in the later years. In 1838, during the excavation of a grave mound in Moundsville, West Virginia, they found a giant skeleton over 8 feet tall. After a decade, in East Fairmont, excavators found 2 very large human skeletons, but unfortunately both skeletons were stolen that night, and further investigation was impossible on the skeleton. In 1875, during the construction of a bridge in Riversville, the workers found the remains of a human skeleton, which had strands of red hair on the skull. Experts were called to the site, and after close examination, it was found that the bones belonged to a very long human being. It was reported that the skeleton belonged to a person who was taller than 8 feet tall. There are other discoveries all over West Virginia of tall skeletons above 7 feet tall. Number 4. The Saudi Arabian Giant. A team of gas explorers found the remains of a human skeleton of phenomenal size. According to the experts, this skeleton belonged to a human being who stood at a staggering height of 20 feet. In the Quran, it is said that God has created humans of phenomenal size, which he hasn't created since. It's considered that the skeleton belongs to the people of Ad, and they were big, strong, and powerful. They were given immense power, which could easily outdo any human. These people could easily run their arms around a tree trunk and unroot it with minimal effort. There are only a few images of the skeleton that can be found on the internet. There is no further article or studies done on this. There are certainly gray areas in this that make it hard to believe that this is true. This could be something that was cooked up by the media. Maybe this is real. They may have had a time when these monstrous beings roamed the earth. What do you think? Is it real or just some kind of hoax created for the media? Number 3. The Chinese Giant. While excavating a Neolithic settlement in Jiaojia of China's Shandong province, a group of excavators stumbled upon the ruins of 104 horses, 210 graves, and 20 sacrificial pits. Among these, a fascinating discovery was the discovery of a giant Neolithic man about 6 foot 2 inches. This may not seem like that big of a deal, but considering the other males who lived during that period, 6 foot 2 inches made you look like a giant. Even though most of them only seemed to be a little over 6 feet tall, they were exceptionally tall for their period. During that time, 5 feet was the average height for males, and 4 feet 5 inches was the average height for females. Number 2. Bhima's Stove. Bhima's Stove is considered to be the most important evidence to support the existence of giants. This structure is located in India. People believe giants, about 15 feet tall, made these marks. People also believe that the temple nearby was also made by the giants. According to experts, these formations in the rocks cannot be done by natural means, so this concludes that these marks were made by early humans that lived centuries ago. The rocks weigh up to 1,700 tons, and an average man can lift up to 200 pounds. By this calculation, to lift this rock, we'll need 16,000 people, which is not possible considering the area it occupies. So the existence of giants is the only logical explanation here. But many are still skeptical about this. Ancient Egyptians could pull off the Great Pyramids without the help of giants, so there may be a chance. Number 1. Horned Giants. In 1880, during an excavation in Sayre, Bradford County, Pennsylvania, the group stumbled upon a group of human skulls. These skulls were anatomically correct, but they had a tall structure. But the fact that stood out to them the most was the horn-like projections in their head. These horns were 2 inches long and were projected above the eyebrows. Some legends support the existence of horned giants, but no solid evidence supports this claim. Do you think giants did exist in ancient times, or is it something that is made up? What do you think? Let us know in the comment section. We'll be back with another exciting video for you guys. Till then, goodbye.